And we're on.
We are on.
Big, massive shout out to our guest zooming in all the way from New South Wales. Please welcome a man who is making massive waves and doing a lot of amazing stuff in the mental health space. He reached out to us for the podcast, which made us feel a little bit like celebrities in the podcast game as well. But a big warm welcome to Nicholas. Probably going to say this wrong, but Betar. How do I actually pronounce it?
You got it right the first time, bro.
Betar. Yep, there we go. Nailed it. It's only because I've read the Betar Project, which we'll get into, obviously, as Betar. So, I was like, I think it's Betar because that makes the most surname sense. But, we got there in the end. That's the main thing.
Yeah,
right?
The amount of pronunciations I've had along the years is just like, just say whatever. But yeah, it's Lebanese background, Betar.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, yep. And look, it works well in your favour for coming up with the name of the Betar Project. Now, before we, I guess, get into that, because that's probably a little bit more recent, tell us a little bit more about yourself, I guess, your background, growing up and things like that, and then we'll dive into a little bit more about the Betar Project and the amazing stuff you're doing now.
Yeah, sure. I love that we're starting here, because if we had this conversation about 7 days ago, it would be a totally different conversation. These last 5 days, as I mentioned, I was up on the Goldie at a personal development event, and I've done a lot of inner work over these last 5 days. And
fuck yeah, dude.
I've realized and discovered a lot of stuff within myself, and it's just like, fuck, this is awesome shit. But going back, man, you know what? Let's dive straight in, eh? For the first 25 years of my life, essentially, I have felt trapped in my body. I've felt like the person that I put out to the world was totally different to the person within. And various reasons, I've never had the best relationship with my father. It stemmed from when I was a baby. Like, I'd never wanted to go near him. I would cry every time. And for me, now looking at it, being a father myself, I would understand how fucking heartbreaking that would be, not having that connection with your child, especially your firstborn child too. Mm-hmm. So I have so much empathy towards him. But as a result of that, he kind of treated me differently. Like, yes, we are totally different people, but he treated me differently in a way that it was bad to be different.
Yeah, okay. Right.
And growing up, I really realized that. And that made me go into my shell and was like, fuck, I'm so different. That is bad. I never expressed how I truly felt. And I did things to try and make my dad proud of me. Like, yep. I would play certain sports, or I did martial arts because he has a fighting background. So I did martial arts just to make him proud of me. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I did not like it at all. But I did it just for that little bit of recognition.
Mm-hmm.
And especially for me, like, I'm naturally shy, naturally introverted. And my dad's actually pretty much the same, but we didn't have the same interests. And then when my brother came along, he's like a spitting image of my dad.
Yeah, really?
So there's like this divide in my family where it's my dad and my brother, and it's me and my mum, because I'm a massive mummy's boy. I love my mum.
Yeah, shout out to the mums. Fucking oath.
They're amazing. But yeah, there's always been this divide in the family where I felt so comfortable being with my mum, opening up. But when it came to my dad, especially now understanding why he acted the way he did, like, there was an element of resent, and then I also understand that he has his own childhood traumas and his own issues that he's never dealt with, which has resulted in him being angry and resulting to violence and stuff like that. And I seen that growing up, and I blamed him for me staying in my shell. And a part of me actually didn't like him. I didn't like the way he was. But until recently, when I really started to dive in and understand, okay, let's have some empathy towards him as to why he's acting this certain way. Yes, his actions are not called for. I don't condone them, but there's an element of, okay, why is he doing it? And it stems from, as I said, his childhood traumas and stuff. And I totally forgive him for that. Because
that's good, man.
I haven't been through what he's been through. I've had actually a pretty blessed childhood. Yes, we didn't have the best relationship, but at the end of the day, he is just doing the best with what he knows.
Yeah.
You know, being a parent doesn't come with an instruction manual. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. You just got to do the best. And for him, he didn't have a father figure in his life. So how the hell is he supposed to know what to do, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So it's first, I just want to say, like, if you want to know what it looks like when a man's been working on himself, when he jumps in a fucking podcast and just goes absolutely ham on his own journey, that's a man who's worked through his stuff. So I commend you for every bit of the inner work that you've done, because it definitely shows, my man. So thank you for just peeling the veil back straight away and giving us that. And I can definitely add to that a little bit as well, right? And this isn't something I've really talked about on the pod before, but my relationship with my dad now is amazing, and it's always been good. But one of the things that I learned sort of, I guess, luckily in my teenage years, was to look at, you know, what you said about his own journey and kind of change the way that I felt about and kind of, you know, removed my teenage selfishness and looked through the lens of, you know, what he had gone through and how good he was doing despite that. So, for example, my dad moved here from the UK, started school here when he was like 12, was just a completely different world than what he grew up in. Then his brother got diagnosed with leukemia and was like, you know, not going to make it. He then broke his neck in high school and they operated too early. And now he has like a pretty bad atrophy condition in one side of his body where like his muscles just like deteriorating over time because of all the nerve damage. And then his brother passed away while he's going through all his rehabilitation. And then he lost another brother to SIDS shortly after, and then his parents basically drank themselves to death for the rest of their lives. Like all I remember them as is alcoholics, and the only time we could ever go see them is at the pub. And so there was a lot of I guess shortfalls in my dad's, you know, ability to parent when I was growing up, and it took me until luckily, and I'm glad I didn't, you know, build this layer of resent for him that I could have had for longer years, where I was lucky enough to sort of mature in my teenage years and go, hold on a second, he is a far cry from what he could be based on that experience. Find me many people that go through all of that and aren't themselves an alcoholic or aren't, you know, constantly abusive or whatever. You know, my problems were that he didn't know how to sort of you know, regulate his temper, but he would never hurt me or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? So that, but as a kid growing up, you're like, dude, this guy's fucking crazy. Do you know what I mean? It's so easy to take that as oh, you know, why is he being such an asshole to me kind of thing. And I'm quite blessed that I was able to have that kind of presence of mind as a teenager to go, hold on a second, let's take what's really good about this relationship and not focus on how it could be better, because we wouldn't be as close as we are now if I had done that. So you know, I think that's such an important lesson for anyone out there that maybe now looks back at their relationship with their parents and goes, shit, they were just growing up too. They were also, you know, no one was talking about mental health and whatever back then, you know,
that's legit what I was going to say. We've actually mentioned this a few times because I can relate to this, you know, this exact kind of situation. You know, my dad or our dads wouldn't have had the kind of, you know, support networks, or even just talking about your feelings was something that was just so I'm not going to say shunned. Wasn't shunned, but it just wasn't something that was done. It was just you're a man, you deal with it, you know? And that's obviously then they've carried that through. And then, you know, in on top of other things compounding, then trying to raise a kid on top of that, then you're not knowing what to do. Like you said, it doesn't come with an instruction manual. Also, while going through the early 90s, going through the technological revolution, you can imagine that, you know, there's a lot going on for, you know, people or parents in the 90s and even earlier. So yeah, it's just one of those things that now that we've kind of got this bit more of, I wouldn't say completely open society, but a bit more of an open society for men's mental health, I think that we can start, you know, patchworking back up again and building it back to something where it doesn't matter if you're a hardened construction worker, you know, you can sit there with your boys, or you can sit there with your family and open up to them about what's got you fucked up and build on yourself.
Definitely. We have come a long way from, you know, that suck it up mentality, don't be a pussy. You know, you can still be a strong man and open up about your feelings. I think that is what true strength is being able to be vulnerable.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Like I just said, you coming into this chat and the way that you've just gone, you know what, fuck it, here we go. That to me radiates strength. That is alpha male qualities in my mind. You know what I mean? It's not what we considered alpha male to be for the longest time. Now I think a true alpha male is someone who's working through their shit, right? Someone who is not letting their traumas dictate their actions or, you know, whatever, and then blaming, oh, well, you know, it's because I've gone through this that I'm doing ABC thing. It's being like, hey, you know, I'm completely open and honest about my shortfalls, and these are the things I'm working on, and here's how I'm working on them. And that is the truest strength that we can have. And, you know, I always love just these moments where I'm sitting here and I'm looking at three blokes in a Zoom call having this kind of conversation. This is amazing in any capacity. Do you know what I mean? Yes, it is becoming more common, but it's still not common enough. And, you know, if everyone could get to the point like you are, Nick, how you've been able to come in here and just go, hey, this is my shit, and this is what I've been working through. And like you said, I had a breakthrough 4 days ago at this thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, you never are completely all of a sudden just like free from everything. You know, you are constantly evolving, and we've got to be aware of that as well and go, hey, next week I could have the worst week ever and take a huge backslide on all the progress that I've made. But then 2 weeks later, I could be healthier mentally than I've ever been. You know, it's going to have peaks and troughs. Yeah, man, the more that we can be, that's what we're here for. It's why I'm sure you reached out, and it's why we were keen to have you on, is because the more that we can get these kinds of conversations out in the airwaves, the amount of people that reach out, and I'm sure you've had this 100 times from your podcast, we've had it so many times, where someone hears this, reaches out and goes, you guys helped me like you wouldn't believe. I was having the worst time, but then hearing the way you guys spoke about ABC, it's going to help me get through it. And that's exactly what we're here for. I'm sure you are too.
Yeah, it's just fostering those like genuine conversations, hey? So, Nick, with, I guess, the Betar Project then, give us a bit of a background of like kind of why you wanted to start it.
Yeah, sure. So going back, as I mentioned, I was that shy, introverted kid, and I really let fear and anxiety hold me back from so many opportunities growing up. I just like to stay in my little comfort zone and not leave it at all. But I knew that I always wanted to have an impact in this world. I just wasn't sure how. And every time I kind of felt like I wanted to do it, this little voice in my head was going, you can't do that. Like, you can't even talk to people. Like, who are you to jump out of your comfort zone? And at the time, so what was this? This was 2019. So I was in university studying sports and exercise science. And I didn't like it at all. I was on social media one day and this guy pops up, Gary Vaynerchuk. Do you guys know of him?
Yeah, I know Gary. Yeah.
Gary Goat. Popped up and all this inspirational videos and stuff like that. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Just going on about shit. And I just started following him. And then a couple of days go by and it pops up, Gary V is coming to Sydney, Australia. And something within me was like, all right, I'm just going to buy a ticket to this event. I don't know what to expect. I bought the ticket. And I told my parents, I'm skipping university for this day to go to this event. And they're like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah,
like, they're just going to try and sell you programs or something like that. Like, are you stupid? I went to that event. And, dude, that event legit put me on the path that I am on now.
Wow, that's crazy.
Sitting in that crowd, watching all the other speakers, but when Gary Vee came out, and the way that he captivates a crowd, and the way that he has an impact on everyone else and myself, I was like, wow, imagine if I could do something like this.
Yeah, because he keeps it real, man. He doesn't fuck around, that guy.
Definitely. Real and raw. And I was like, I want to fucking do this. Then that little voice comes in my head again. And it's like, you can't do this. But I said, fuck you to that little voice. And I said, I'm going to make a promise to myself to this day to take every single opportunity that comes my way. I'm not going to let fear, I'm not going to let anxiety, I'm not going to let anyone's opinions hold me back from doing what I want to do. The next week, I dropped out of university.
Wow.
I said, stuff that, crazy. Dropping out. I started working in my family's business just to earn some cash, bought my first camera, then got into podcasting because Gary Vee popped up and said everyone needs to have a podcast. I wasn't even listening to podcasts. I didn't even know really what a podcast was at the time. But I started one.
So you're doing garage sales now, because that's what he's been doing lately. All the garage sale finds.
That's funny because I actually went through a phase of doing that.
Oh no way!
Yeah, I actually made a few K out of that. It was a fucking
Fuck
good little
yeah.
hustle, bro.
That's
Wow.
sick.
Yeah. So when I started the podcast, I remember that first episode, and it was a very similar setup to this, not as advanced, but like a USB mic, my old laptop, camera, and all I wanted to record was like a little introduction episode of, I guess, who I am. And it was 3 minutes long, but it took me about over an hour to record because I
Yeah.
thought it had to be perfect. And I kept mumbling and stuffing it up. And I was like, how the fuck am I going to get this done? But I got it done. And I pressed that button to put it out to the world. And I was like, oh, who the hell is going to listen to this? A few people listened. But off the back of that, I gained some confidence within me. I was like, let's just keep doing it. Let's see where it goes. And it all started essentially to build confidence, to get myself out of my comfort zone and essentially learn how to communicate with people. And I spoke to so many different people from already so many different backgrounds. And that first year, there was a point where I was recording 3 guest episodes a week.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
I was
punching
going
it.
so fucking hard. That first year, I recorded 50 episodes.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, that was gnarly. And some of them were like Joe Rogan style, like 2-3 hour podcasts.
Fuck
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, that was hectic. But I burnt myself out
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I had like this Gary Vee mentality of, I guess, this misconception of what he pushes out of, this hustle, hustle, hustle. But you don't have to hustle to make a podcast or to make a business successful. You just got to do the right things. It's like the
Yeah.
80-20 rule. Do the 20% of tasks that result in 80% of the results.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember going away for a sporting competition. I went away for a week, and it just allowed me to reflect and realize, like, hey, I've spoken to so many people. What is the most common thing here? It was that everyone had their struggles, they had their adversities, but at the time when they were going through them, they didn't feel comfortable actually talking about it. There was this stigma around mental health, and I was like, why the fuck is there a stigma surrounding mental health when we all have mental health and we all go through shit? So why can't we talk about it? And then that took me back to when I was younger, and I was like, yeah, okay. I actually did bottle up all my stuff. I didn't talk about it either because I was scared.
Yeah.
This is the direction I want to take the podcast in. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to start spreading awareness, talking about mental health, getting people to share their stories. Vulnerability leads to vulnerability. Let's do that. Year 2, big focus on mental health, pumping it out again. Then a pivotal moment which really got me thinking was when Are You Okay Day popped up.
Yeah. Okay.
And it is a great initiative, don't get me wrong. But you would have noticed so many people come out of the woodworks, they do the little post, and then you don't see from them again.
Yeah.
They just do that post to play their part in society.
Yeah.
But it's like, do you actually fucking care?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like if someone commented on your post, right, and said, "Hey, I'm having a bad time," would you actually follow up? Would you actually talk to them? Would you sit there on the phone and listen to what they have to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
many people
virtues,
don't.
and that's, I guess, a problem with, like, there being like a what's the word I'm looking for here? Like there it is, like, now there's like virtue signaling in the mental health movement, because it's like, oh wow, now this is something that's becoming a bit more mainstream to talk about. So you're going to get those people that are like trying to then piggyback on the popularity of this movement and try and, virtue signal themselves as a great person, but they're not in the trenches, actually doing the podcast that sometimes get no views or whatever it may be, you know what I mean? Like, to actually try and spread that word. So, yeah, what was the frustration with it? Is that just the main thing that you saw that day and you felt?
Yeah, it annoyed me. As I said, I seen people come out of the woodworks, make these posts, share this stuff on social media, and then you wouldn't hear from them again. And I was like, okay, cool. Awareness is great. It's awesome that we have this day. We're getting the education out there. But coming from a sporting background, what actually allows you to achieve your goals by taking action? Actions speak louder than words. We need to be preventative in this space. And I came across this term, mental fitness. And I was like, what is mental fitness? And essentially, it's like the tools, the tips, the strategies, the things that you can implement in your day-to-day life that not only make you a better version of yourself, but also allow you to deal with any adversities that may arise in your life. So essentially, you're becoming a better human. And it's just like when you go to the gym and you train your biceps, you get 1% better every single day. Why can't we do that with our mind?
Yeah.
And there's no stigma when someone says mental fitness.
Yeah.
When someone says mental health, what's the first thing people think of? Depression, anxiety, suicide. But essentially, that's referring to mental illness. So we've got the terms mixed up there to start with. So that's why there's this. Yeah, that's why there's this massive stigma around it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go with the term mental fitness. No stigma, and it's something that people can talk about and something that people can take action on every single day. That is where the podcast changed into, yes, still being awareness-based, but really being preventative and helping people to step into their inner truth, to build that mental fitness and reconnect within mind, body, and spirit, because it's all connected. But as a society, I believe we're so disconnected.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah, bro.
Like, yeah, we may go to the gym once or twice a week, or we may go for a run or whatever. But what are you doing for the spiritual side of you or the mind side of you? People don't understand how connected it all is and how much healthier, happier, more grateful we'll be for life if we start to work on those three modalities.
Yeah, most definitely.
And it's crazy because we were talking about this. We had a comedian on we did a podcast on Tuesday night as well. And there was both a really good and bad thing that happened out of the pandemic. And one of the things was that that everyone experienced was we were forced to stop. And part of the issue with everyone's mental fitness is they are so stuck in a loop of the daily grind, their
rat race.
Responsibilities, the rat race, right? That you unless something forces your hand, and it's where quite often, like massive events in your life will obviously cause the downward spiral, but then is quite often followed by the best version of yourself. In most people's journey, not always the case. It's not a one size fits all, but it's like you have to have something to break you out of that cycle. Like, you will ignore the signs that are there that you're starting to burn out, that you clearly need a break, that you need these things, and you'll just continue down this path, and then something will happen. And what happened with the pandemic is that that was the thing that happened, but on a universal, earthly scale of everyone's got to stop and just take a second to reflect on how fragile and everything life can be, and employment can be, and the routine can be. When something like that just comes along and goes, hey, you're not doing any of these things. You can't go to a gym at the moment because it's closed. You can't see your family. That gets you through another week of the rat race when you get to hug your mum or whatever it may be. And it's the important lesson, and we talked about this in the podcast the other night, is we've got to force ourselves to do that when we're in the rat race, right? So when everything goes back to normal, how do we make a conscious and positive effort to stop every few months and go, where am I at right now? And what are the things that I need to actually look at working on or improving on? And where am I starting to see myself, head back into bad habits or whatever? And that's obviously a lot easier said than done. But I think it's a huge lesson for people to be able to be hold on, there was a positive out of that, because it forced everyone to change the way we do things, look at things differently, and try and find better ways. But also let's not just go back to the way we did it before, which is just get straight back in that fast lane of life and end up running into the exact same problems again.
Yeah, I actually love the COVID period. As you mentioned, it allowed people to actually slow down. And I wasn't able to go to the gym, so I actually picked up running. And I'd go for runs every day past the park. You know how awesome it was to see families out there playing together?
Yeah.
That was fucking amazing. When before COVID hit, they'd be at work and they wouldn't be able to spend as much time with their kids. So that allowed people to, as I said, break out of that kind of rat race for a period of time, to do that self-evaluation and to reconnect with themselves, but also their family members. And it was so awesome to see. Yes, there's all the negative stuff out there, but I believe there's a lesson and a blessing within every situation. And that was one of the biggest blessings to come out of it. And you referred to, we do have all these busy lives and we're trying to fit in, I guess, our self-care and our self-love into that. We need to flip the switch. We're putting all our busy stuff first and we're trying to jam in all our self-care somewhere in our schedule. Flip the switch and put your self-care first, and then fit in all your other tasks that you need to get done. Because if you put yourself first, right, how's that going to make you feel?
Yeah.
So much happier, so much more confident, healthier, which is then going to allow you to turn up as a better version of yourself for not only yourself, but for your friends, your family, your colleagues, everything that you do in life, you're going to be able to turn up as your best self. So put your damn self first for once.
Well, that's it, man. Like this whole putting yourself first thing, like, and then like what Justin was just saying about the pandemic, how it forced people to deal with issues. Like myself, around this time last year, actually, was probably going through one of the hardest periods of time, or like multiple events that happen in sequence that I've been through maybe ever. And it really forced me to readjust on a personal level. And then also when it came to do with work and relationships and stuff like that. And even though at that point in time, I fucking hated it and it was like really hard, like really, really hard. I feel like now I've come out of that, like you said, as a better person. And it's like that hitting that reset switch was just something that needed to be done. And instead of like glamorizing the hustle, because it was like I'd go to work 40 hours a week and then I'd come home and I'd do 20, 30 hours for my business. And it's just like working that much while trying to juggle a relationship, the podcast and a band and all these other things. It just wasn't working. So it's almost like that reset switch, like we said in this most recent podcast, is something that maybe you can't force it, but it needs something to happen a little bit more often, maybe. I don't know how you could really force it, but like something that people need to consciously be like, all right, where am I at in life right now?
I think it's all... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say... Oh.
You go. You go, bro.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it needs to be scheduled in.
Yeah.
I reckon monthly, either take a day, even if you can maybe afford to take a weekend, go somewhere, change your location, just have some time for yourself if you can, and just scheduling that time to do a self-evaluation of where you're at in life currently, and then see where you need to maybe swap some priorities around, what you need to change. That will allow you to keep on track. Because how are we supposed to measure where we're at in life and to progress forward if we're never taking the time to actually sit down and go, where the fuck am I at right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a big thing, and this is what I talk to my partner about all the time, right, and what's been a huge tool for me, is I look back at all the difficult shit that I've been through, and I literally look at the changes that I made positively as a result of that, right? I actually like really try and break it down in my mind, or even, you know, in like a diary form, and go, this was the thing that happened and this was horrible, and maybe even that thing, you know, lasted and had an effect on me for this period of time. But slowly, what were the changes that I can actually tangibly look at that started to come out of the lessons that I learned through that time? And then using that as a way to build my mindset now, so that I know that when the next crazy thing happens, for example, I got made redundant from a job I'd been in 5 years earlier this year, and now I'm in a job that's like paying me excessively more, and I work from home all the time instead of part-time in the city. But I couldn't have seen that as being the outcome at the moment I got made redundant, right? And when I got made redundant, my partner was sick. My son had just started school. Like you said, Ty's about, you know, it all coming at once. But I was able to work through that methodically because I knew, and I'd already built this belief system of like, something good will come out of this, even if you don't see it initially. Whereas like a lot of people would, in that time, go, this is fucked. Like, why am I dealing with all of this right now? Like, could it not be split up? Could it not be? Yeah. And you get really trapped in that thought pattern of like, why me? And it does become that kind of like selfish. And you're right to feel that way to a degree. But what's so important is how quickly you get yourself out of that mentality. How quickly you go, well, hold on. Whatever, like I'm going to work through this, even if it takes me X amount of time. And here's all the evidence from other times in my life that shows me that I will. Like building that mindset so that you're ready, because knowing that there's going to be something fucked coming. Always. There's always going to be something that's not good. A car blowing up, a job change, a loved one getting sick, having a bad time, the loss of someone. Any of those things are inevitable. How do you prepare yourself to be able to tackle them in the best possible way, using all of the things that you've already endured and come out of stronger in your life? So important, rather than just, again, rat race, thinking nothing's going to change. I'm just going to keep on this path. And then when that thing happens, you're completely fucked from it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like hustle culture is almost somewhat made that whole thing harder than it should be. Because it's just like, yeah, get on the hustle, man, get on the grind, get out there, make that stack. You know, you're just like, yeah, that's all well and good because everybody wants to, you know, have success, but does that come at the cost of your mental health? It shouldn't, you know.
Definitely. And coming back, you know, at the cost of your own mental health when you're trying to achieve goals, it's not only the cost of your mental health, but it's the cost of your relationships. And to give some context around that, there was a period in my life where I was so heavily focused on my goals that I pushed the relationship with my partner to the side, and I didn't make her a priority at all. And I remember going to this couples event, like personal development event, and one of the activities was to write down your goals. And here I am writing down all my personal goals. And the facilitator comes around and he goes, "What are you doing? Like, this is actually couple goals." I was like,
Yeah,
oh, shit.
no shit.
What he said next was, "It's all good to have your personal goals, right? But what happens if you achieve them, but there's no one there to support you when you reach them or to celebrate with?
Yeah.
Is it really worth it then at the cost of your relationship, your family, your friends?" And that flipped a fucking switch in me. And I was like, holy shit. Yes, I can have both here, but I need to put my relationships as a higher priority because that is going to make me a lot more happier, which is then going to result in me being more efficient and more productive when it comes to actually my goals anyway.
Yeah.
And it's not a thing where that's so amazing what you said. And to add to that, right, I think what's so important, and I've talked about this a lot before, is like that, say the pie chart of your energy, the time that you can give. First of all, you're right, it has to be like split up more evenly, but it also has to be malleable, right? So that and easily malleable, right? So that there's a period in time where it's like, there's a potential goal here that I need to hit to whatever. So I can shift and focus more energy than what I normally would into that for a short burst. And then once that's over, I'm able to easily step back and then move it into my relationship, my kid, whatever it may be, right? And that's something that so many people struggle with massively, right? They have 80% of work or the other goals that they have, and then there's 20% left over, and that doesn't move. That 20% is so static, and that 20% slowly grinds away at those people around them, whether it is the relationship they have with their kids because they're working so much, or the relationship with their wife because they're working so much, or, you know, they've got this desire to be a pro golfer, so they're playing golf way too, do you know what I mean? Like, it never move. It has to move, right? So, and you need to be able to read situations and go, okay, whether it's burnout, whether it's the relationship starting to, you can tell that there's a tension, that there's a whatever, and making that conscious move to go, I need to lessen this focus, even if it means that the goal that I've had gets pushed back a little bit. What, like you said, what's the point of getting to that goal if I've got no one to share it with? And, you know, I see that in my friends now. I've got friends that they own 2 or 3 houses, but how much time have they had with their family as they head into their mid-30s? And look, everyone, each to their own, but I know for me personally, I would rather my goals take a little bit longer, but I've got all these incredible memories for the time that I've shared with them, because tomorrow's not promised, man. Like, you have no, what would be the point of all of that hustle to end up something happening and I was never there to have those moments? Like, if I was to wake up or not wake up tomorrow, I can hand on my heart say that I have tried my best to hustle as hard as I possibly can within the confines of being a supportive partner, a loving dad, you know, all of those things, a great son, all of those things. I can happily do that. How many people could honestly stand back at this moment in their lives and go, oh yeah, shit, I haven't seen mum and dad in 4 weeks. I've been working overtime every single weekend, like all of those things. And it's like, is that the be all and end all? And we have to be so conscious of that as we look to this whole push towards better mental health. That's a lot of the driving force behind it, is not having that pie chart move and shift around as it needs to support yourself mentally and be there for those around you as well.
Yeah, like we've said a few times now, it's about balance. Really, ultimately, the word of the day is balance. Because if you're out of balance at any aspect, it's going to then try and naturally correct itself, and the more you fight against that, the harder it's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
People use the term work-life balance so often, right? Balance is the word chucked around. We just mentioned it there. But for me, I think so many people trying to chase balance that actually causes more harm than good. And I actually believe it just comes down to priorities.
Yeah.
Like some days you may have to put 80% of your energy into business and only 20% with your family. Then other days you can spend 100% with your family. It's a dance with the extremes of life.
Yeah.
And you try and find that middle ground, but you got to understand that different days are going to require different energy in different areas of your life. So yeah, you just got to essentially go with the flow of it, and not get caught up in this work-life balance, because yeah, I believe that really causes a lot more stress in people's life because they're trying to really get that balance. I want this balance, I want this balance, and they never actually get it.
Yeah, they're focusing on like the dualities. It's like work, life, and then kind of like trying to go in between, where it should be more like, you know, a pentagon or a triangle or an octagon between all the different facets of your life. And like you said, some days you are going to have to work 12 hours, and some days you don't work a single hour, and you can hang out with your family, but like you can't be working 10 hours every day, then trying to have 10 hours with your family, then trying to go to the gym for 10 hours. Like it's not going to work.
You're gonna kill yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think it is becoming a little bit more common. Part of the problem has been that the working structure and everything and the expectations of human beings have been so relentless as well, right? So it's not just us as humans that have been responsible. Like exploitation of workers, especially looking at the males that, again, our dads, and as they grew up working split shifts where they do 6 hours, have 4 hours off, do 6 hours, then come home, go to bed and do it all over again. That was an expectation for nearly every one of our fathers, at some job that they've had. So like they were being robbed of the potential to actually choose a different way for themselves by the people that were the ones that were putting food on their table for their family. So we're obviously talking about it now in a way that's like, we are a little bit luckier that we have workplaces that are starting to put these initiatives in where it's like, this isn't sustainable for anyone. A big thing has been the mines, like how much regulation has come into the mines about how many hours they can possibly do. Like they're not allowed to do over a certain amount. Even things like, and I know that there's miners that hate this, but like the drinking restrictions and everything that they put in on mine sites, that's a good thing as far as I'm concerned. Like you don't need to have any more than 4 drinks a day. You shouldn't even be having 4 drinks a day. But the fact that used to be unlimited and people could literally put a carton away, wake up, go onto the mine site again, and then do that and again, where there wasn't regulation before, I knew some people doing 4 weeks on, 1 week off.
That's literally what I was going to say. I've heard of people doing 4 weeks on, 1 week off. That is insane.
And then every now and then they would work through, like they just wouldn't go back, especially if they'd the 4 weeks on, damage the relationship. They ended up breaking up with their partner, haven't been talking to their mum and dad. They've got no one to come home to. So they just stay on site and then end up getting absolutely fucking plastered in their little 2x4 meter room and then go back and do another fucking 4 weeks of work because there was no point flying out like that. So I guess the point is that we are luckier now that there is more actual structure in place to support that, which there wasn't before. But we still need to be conscious as individuals in that, there's still ways that we can push ourselves unnecessarily. And what the end result is of that is burnout and damaging these, relationships and things that we have.
Definitely. And you mentioned the word conscious. We need to be so much more conscious and understand that we live in a new world now. We don't have to work those 9 to 5 jobs and slave away. There's so many ways we can create income these days. And even if you do find yourself in a job, you don't have to put up bullshit because there's so many companies out there that actually have a really strong culture.
Just head down to garage sales, man, and you can make yourself.
And on your story about the mines and people, just sinking piss all the time and working, it really gets me thinking of what leads someone to that point to do that to themselves. Like, surely I would understand that there's an underlying issue to that. Because for me, that screams poor mental health in my eyes.
Absolutely.
It's like, okay, this person has no purpose, no meaning for life. So they just think they're just going to sink piss and slave away in their job. And they may get some money and then they come back and then just piss it up against the wall because they think external material things is going to make them happy. and it does for 2 seconds, and then they feel depressed again and go back, and it's just a repeating cycle over and over again.
Yeah, because they bought their BMW M3, but they're sitting in it by themselves crying.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, are they, like you said at the very start of this podcast, you were like, people need to work on not only their physical health, right, but they need to do the mental fitness and the spiritual fitness. And then, I'm on your Instagram here now, and I can see you were at your Gold Coast event there, and you can just tell it was a vibe, man. You can just tell it was a vibe, and you learned something. Like,
bro, that was a fucking vibe, man. And talking about alcohol, right? It was essentially a big spiritual party for 3 days without any alcohol.
Yeah.
Wow.
No
Who
shit.
says you need alcohol to have a party?
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, that's so good, and it's such an important thing that like those things are existing and happening on the regular now. That there are these opportunities to go and bond with like-minded people. And I guess jumping back to what you said as well, like, you're absolutely right. Like, people are so often have this like vacuum inside themselves that's just like they're just chucking everything at it, whether it's alcohol or, materialism or whatever, to try and like fill this hole that they have no idea, and nothing fills it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. The only thing that's going to eventually start to close that hole up is doing that inner work, understanding why those behaviors exist and why they're doing it, understanding what it is that they're yearning for. Because, when you're like drinking like on an every night or whatever, you're just trying to block out that voice that's telling you, hey, something, I don't feel right, something I feel uneasy, I'm anxious, whatever it is. Bang, I'll have 10 beers and that feeling will go away, and I'll be laughing and carrying on. And that just exists so much, man. And it's important that, we've got mates at the moment that are like taking massive breaks off alcohol and seeing all of these massive results in themselves by doing so. And it's like, because it's a legal thing, there's always been that stigma around these drugs or whatever else. And look, I've done every fucking possible drug under the sun, but I've had to look at myself with alcohol over the last couple of years as well, because it was something where I was just like, I really will drink every weekend just for no reason. Like, that's what I'll do. That's what I'm catching up with my mates to do. Like, yeah, I'm seeing my mates and I'm having a great time, but do we need to write ourselves off every single weekend? Like, what is the end result of that? Like, is it, and me trying to justify it because I don't drink every night? Like, that doesn't make it okay. The fact that I don't drink every day and that there's people that are doing it worse than me doesn't mean that me needing to be blackout drunk every single weekend isn't a problem. And that I should be trying to find, more constructive ways and better things to do. Because that's the other thing, is that if I get blackout on a Saturday night, that Sunday where I could have woken up, jumped in a Zoom call with Ryan and made some content, started like working on, getting more content out there or whatever, I'm just going to sit in bed, wait for the missus to bring me KFC and watch fucking Netflix. And that day's a complete write-off. Like, that sort of cognitive understanding of like, where is my time going into that, or where is my energy and everything going? Is it being sucked into this vacuum that I've now realized I've clearly had to a degree over my life? Or is it going into something positive and constructive? And I think that finding that battle and doing it for everyone is a huge step in the right direction for this push towards better mental fitness.
Definitely. I've never understood how people can get on the drink every single weekend and continue to do it. Like, I come from a rugby league background, and it's a big drinking culture. And I would have teammates that would get on the piss, get on the drugs, turn up, play footy still. I'm like, how do you do this?
Yeah.
And looking at it now from an outside perspective, it's like, you're actually hurting inside. Like, as I said before, you have no meaning, you have no purpose for life. So you think the only way to gain that, I guess, validation or acceptance is to go out and party. Because, you might get a girl, so you get some temporary love or something like that. That is not going to lead you to a happy and fulfilled life. It's going to lead you down a dark fucking hole
100%.
that so many people do not come out of.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just going to end up using a substance as a crutch, essentially, to try and ride out these waves. What was the saying that when we had the Next Step boys on, Justin, what was that wave?
Oh, about going through the ripple effect.
The ripple effect, yeah.
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 And to add to what you were saying as well, like, it's that thing of, that sense of belonging, right? That people have. Like, I know that I was a massive culprit for this, right? And and you said culture, and there was a culture, and there still is to a degree in the group of friends that I've had since high school, that's what we did, right? Is that, back when we were 16 to 19, it was find parties, get fucked up, and that was the routine. Then it was, by the time we were 18, it's we go to town, we go to nightclubs, we get fucked up. And so we just built this culture around, when we're hanging out, we're getting fucked up. That's what we're doing, right? And it's taken me until I'm in the start of my 30s, and disappointingly to say that as well, that it's in my 30s where I'm like, why don't we just go play a round of golf? Why don't we cook up a barbecue and have 1 or 2 beers and drive home? My stand-up, I've been doing stand-up for 10 years, and it's only been in the last 2 years where I'll just drive into my shows and have 1 beer or no beers and go home. Whereas when I started it, because again, all the comedians, there's this culture of we're all having beers, I would catch a train all the way into the city just so that I could be over the limit, and then, catch the train all the way home. So I'm adding an hour onto my already long day. I've worked all day, then I've got to go to this show at night just so that I can, be a part of this culture. And it's and I just didn't even realize, even in the time that I was promoting good mental health, I was and because I was personally sound of mind, I still wasn't looking at my own behaviors and going there's still area for improvement here that you need to make, even though, you don't have depressive episodes or anxiety or anything anymore. That doesn't mean that that's not going to be around the corner if you don't address the things that need to be fixed, that you are getting fucked up still all the time on the weekend. So it's back to what we were saying right at the beginning, to kind of come full circle, it's still an everyday thing, right? It's not just that, you have these epiphanies and these awakenings in yourself and do the inner work and then you're good for the rest of your life. Now I'm just going to ride this this roller coaster upwards of amazingness. You can constantly stop, reevaluate, and go, this thing that I thought was good for me is actually not, and I need to change some things.
Definitely. It comes down to self-awareness, and I had one of the biggest realizations yesterday. And talking about drugs and alcohol, there was a period in my life where I actually went down the path of steroids. Now, I've had a lot of groin issues, right? And then to give you context, there's usually a lot of trauma, a lot of fear, a lot of negative emotion that is kept within this region here below your sternum, which gets trapped there, a lot of negative energy. And from 16, I've had groin injuries all along. And I was listening to another podcast with a professional rugby player, James O'Connor, and he's had groin injuries as well. And he's done a bit of spiritual work. And what he realized was why he was getting groin injuries was because he felt like he had to prove something, because he's 30 and still trying to compete with the young bucks. And he felt like, fuck, I need to get out there. I need to prove something to see how good I am, which resulted in groin injuries. And that really got me thinking. And then over the weekend, doing that inner work, I really connected all the dots. And I was 16, I started doing steroids because I thought I wasn't good enough and I needed to go to that next level. What happened after that? Groin injuries ever since then.
Wow. Interesting. I
was holy fuck. That is crazy when you start to connect the dots as to why you are the way you are and what happens within your body. I was damn, now that I've released all that, let's get to work.
Yeah, because that's kind of around your base chakra area. If you kind of know much about seven, I think it's 7 chakras. You've got
seven
a base.
Chakras,
You've got a base, and at the top you've got the crown or whatever it is. And so I could see how that's manifesting there, because that's where that kind of base chakra is, and the emotion of pride or trying to prove yourself would probably be a lower vibrational thing. It's not necessarily a great thing,
No, it's not. I got it right here actually. It's the Hawkins level of consciousness, I'm pretty sure. So if we're vibrating at 0, that's essentially we're dead.
Yeah.
If we talk about shame, guilt, grief, and fear, so shame is at 20 hertz, I think, of vibration.
Yep.
So if you're living in a life of shame, you're essentially just above death.
Wow.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Fear is at 100. So for me, I was in fear of not being good enough.
Yeah.
So that was the level I was vibrating at. And I was like, how am I expected to be my best self if I'm vibrating at such a low level?
Yeah. So
Crazy.
as we move up to the upper like emotions, there is in like joy and unconditional love. What level are they vibrating at? Does it say there?
So love is 500.
Yeah.
Wow.
And enlightenment is 700 plus.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. So that's a massive difference between 20 hertz and 700 hertz. There's a big fucking difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as I said, it's all trapped within those first three chakras. Once you release them, it's like the gateway to your heart. And then once you open your heart up, bro, it flows through your whole body, man.
Yeah.
And that is like a lot of the work that I did over the weekend. And in a way, it sounds kind of cringe, but I feel like reborn in a way.
No, good on you, man. That's fucking sick.
No, it's so important to have that, those epiphanies and those moments. And as I said again, like you're going to go actively looking to try and have that experience again, and not in a negative way, not where you're like, oh no, unless I'm trying to recreate that feeling, which is where that, the toxic side of like drugs or abuse or whatever comes from, is like you're chasing this feeling. But you will, in a healthy and positive way, find more ways to connect to what you connected to in that weekend. And like we should all be actively looking for that as well. But I want to I guess get you to dive a little bit deeper for us on where you want to take Betar Project. You personally, what would be I guess your short-term and long-term goals with the project? What would you love to be doing in a short amount of time, and what would you be love to doing in 5 years with the project?
Yeah, wow. Well, first of all, as I said, I'm building a new studio, so that's one of my goals that I want to do within the next month or so. So get that up and running, which will allow me to really pick up the game when it comes to in-person podcasts, high quality, which I fucking love. And I really love in-person podcasts. As you know, the connection is so much better when you actually get to do it in person. So when I'm in Adelaide, we'll have to do one in person for sure.
Most definitely, dude. Yeah.
So that's short-term goal. But long-term, I love travel, I love adventure. I want to combine the two. I want to be able to travel around not only Australia, around the world, doing podcasting, connecting with so many amazing people, and turning it into a business. Now, I've got a little side hustle off the side of this, which is actually helping people to start their podcasts. That's because cool. I know how daunting it is. As you would know, in the beginning, you're like, where the fuck do I start? What equipment do I buy? How do I do all this? And I was like, okay, I've been through all the shit. This is my 3rd year. I've done 200 plus episodes. I know my stuff. I can help people here. So that is the little side hustle is helping people one-on-one, and I'm also creating a online program course at the moment. They'll bring income in, which will allow me to put more money into the podcast, which will allow me to travel. But next year, I'm planning to do a Queensland tour and possibly a Melbourne tour, maybe an Adelaide tour as well.
Get down here, dude. That'll be killer.
Yeah, so do a little podcast tour there, which would be awesome. But yeah, essentially, I want to create financial freedom for myself, for my family, to allow me to just do the things that I love and enjoy. Because as we've mentioned before, life is too short. We don't know when it can be taken. So we may as well do the things that we love, right?
Most definitely, man. I like that a lot. A lot.
Hey, have you heard of a page called The Next Step Australia? Have you seen those boys?
No, I haven't.
Right, so when you are thinking about doing your Adelaide tour, obviously Wormholes want to be involved in that. But there's a group of lads that we've had on an episode before, and I do urge you to go back and have a listen to it, because it is incredible, and we're trying to get them back on, but they've been so busy. But basically, they are a group of blokes where one of them is a fully qualified psychologist, and the page it's called The Next Step because they want you to be a link between you reaching out and then getting help, right? But that first step, that next step, is actually saying, hey, I'm not having a good time at the moment. And for blokes to be able to have something like an inbox of an Instagram page is a lot easier to make that step to, as opposed to ringing a therapist or going to a doctor and getting a mental health plan. Like, those are all really daunting, really stigmatized things to do, whereas just messaging someone is still difficult, still really hard, but an organization trying to bridge that gap is so important. So they're obviously based in Adelaide as well, and they were doing a lot of work in just getting people to a psychologist, right? And so obviously someone that is qualified was manning the page, but then they would get them to an organization where either he works or other people work. The place that they were referring to has actually now shut down, like just out of complete, randomness. So it's forced them to actually convert the brand into a company. And now they're looking at, getting their psychologist on board to finish his master's and then start offering the help all in-house, bringing more psychologists into the Next Step brand and actually growing from the inside. And it's like just this amazing initiative that has started from just a few blokes who have lived experience or, have obviously got qualifications in the field. So I definitely urge you to check those guys out and have a look at the amazing work they're doing. And, they would love to be involved in whatever you come down for Adelaide for as well. But what I love is that there are yourself that's out there doing what you're doing. Then you've got those blokes there. There's also another guy from Adelaide, which I do think you do know him, Callum McPherson, who runs Young Men Mental Health.
Yeah,
Have you seen that?
Yeah, I know who he is. Yeah.
But that's another Adelaide guy. So they're just the ones that I know in our state, which is a population of 1 million. There's more out there that I've not even discovered yet. But like to be able to even, reference those few and now have this meeting with you, there's this groundswell happening of these kind of conversations becoming so much more mainstream. And it excites the hell out of me, man. Like I really appreciate the fact that you found us and reached out because, as soon as I got the message, I messaged Ryan and I'm like, dude, like go check out this guy's page. And then the purpose of this is what I wanted to segue into.
The three grateful
the gratitude project. What's it called?
Is it grateful? Is it grateful?
Yeah, the Grateful Club.
Yeah.
The Grateful Club, right? And like that seriously just blew my mind. And I know it's something simple and I know it's not your original thing to ask that question, but the way that you've kind of found a way to, what's the word I'm looking for here? Like build something around it, right? Like you hear people saying, oh yeah, I do my gratitudes or whatever. And it's very like kind of like a dismissive thing. Whereas you've kind of been like, no, like this, I'm making this like a really important part of everyone's day. Like I'm building a brand around it so that it doesn't just feel like something where people go, oh yeah, I do my breathing, I do my gratitudes. And it's just kind of this like throwaway thing that isn't resonating with people. Whereas like what I think that you've done and what really hit me hard was that you're like, no, I want to really demonstrate how important and how massive this is. So talk to us about, I guess, the Grateful Club, who asked you the question to begin with that started you doing it, much like how I've now taken it and inserted it into our podcast and whatever else. What's the story behind it all?
I love the Grateful Club. It's funny how it came about. It actually got created when I was laying in bed, half dead from COVID.
Okay, interesting.
I was sick and I was like, what am I actually grateful for today? It really got me to think. And I was like, if I can do this while I'm sick as a dog, why can't other people do this?
Yeah.
And I just created the group straight away. I had a few people in my circle. I was like, yeah, cool, let's join. Let's create this cool little community. And it's just grown ever since then. I think we're nearly at 50 members, I'm pretty sure. And we're at 195 days of gratitude.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And just jumping in the chat every single day and seeing everyone's gratitudes, it just lifts the vibration.
Yep. Yeah.
Honestly. And I've had personal messages from people within the community and they go, I've had such a shit day, but I've jumped into the chat. I've seen everyone else's gratitudes and it's really made me think of the things that I'm grateful for today, even when I was in such a bad mood.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, just having that impact on someone's life is so amazing, honestly.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
And having if you build a habit around when I'm feeling crap, I go look at that page, like having a tool, we talk about in the ways that we deal with mental health is by like, you know, building up this armor and this toolkit of all the different things that you can do to get you through. That's both proactive and reactive, right? Sometimes we need to be as proactive as possible. We're not always going to be able to be proactive for every little hurdle that we're going to come into. So how do we also have those tools to be reactive with? So, you know, like you said, someone having a bad day and going, instead of just going, fuck it, I'm going to whatever, and it's all shit, going, you know what, I'm going to go in and I'm going to do my gratitudes, or even if I'm not going to do them, I'm just going to read them. And you're almost guaranteed to feel better after doing it. I know I've never looked in there once and felt anything other than just like awe of the community that's in there, and that no two answers are the same. You know, that everyone's got their own things that they're grateful for. And like, you know, some things are really profound and deep, and some things are just, you know, like a little bit like more minuscule and just going, I'm grateful for this. But like, they're all just as important, right? It could be that my family's alive and well, and it could be that I got a day off today, like, and everything in between.
Yeah, because it's all relative, I guess, isn't it? It's all about like how that person is feeling at that time, and that's what they're grateful for. And I think that's what's so good about it at the end of the day.
That is why I love gratitude, because it can be as easy as just waking up today. Especially for someone who is in a poor mental state, for them just to wake up and to get out of bed, that is a big thing to be grateful for.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be complicated. Like, as humans, we like to overcomplicate everything, right? When it comes to gratitude, it can be as easy as getting out of bed, or it can be something so deep. It can be about anything.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people that, you know, even because I've just not shut the fuck up about it since we've had that conversation. So thank you. But
I love that.
You know, I've had conversations where people are like, you know, I've never stopped and asked that question. My mum was a good example where she was just like, I think she said something along the lines of, I don't stop and think about that enough. And that's kind of been the experience I've had with a lot of people. For me personally as well, I was like, you know, again, someone who is very in tune with what I need to be able to, you know, function at the highest possible frequency as often as possible. Even I was like, I don't stop and actually ask myself that question all the time. I know what I'm grateful for, and I'm cognitive and aware of it. But again, bringing back to the beginning of the podcast, finding ways to slow yourself down and go, actually, what am I truly grateful for, not just in general, but right now, today, and then tomorrow, and then next week, and whatever it is, like these tools that help us just slow down. And I think that is an incredible one that you've built something very special around, man. So I had to give it its time in this podcast to really focus on that, man, because you're doing something great. And I guarantee you, by the time you're down in Adelaide, that club has only expanded and exploded and is impacting even more people. So well done.
Yeah, well, hopefully a few people that are listening in now could go along and get involved in it as well.
Yeah, if they want to actually jump in the club, how do they go about? Like, do they just message you first on the Betar Project page?
Just send me a message and I'll add you into one of the groups, and then start spreading your gratitude, eh? Just continue to lift that vibration. The big thing I've seen as well is that people that are in the group, they may share their gratitude in the group, but as you said, they go to their friends and family and they ask them what are they grateful for. And it creates that ripple effect within society, which then gets people to really take the step back and the time to really focus on themselves and to focus on the things that they are appreciative for in life, instead of focusing on the negative things and all the things that we don't have in life. So that's a massive part of it as well, is just creating that ripple effect, which I bloody love.
Love it, man. Love it. I absolutely love it. Well, I feel like, Nick, that we've come to the point of the episode where we whip out what we call the questions. We like to ask each guest a bunch of predetermined questions. And I think I'll let you start, J-Man. Hit him with number one.
All right, the one I always love hearing people's reactions to, and I hope this will be not disappointing as well. Your favorite song of all time, go.
Ooh.
Yes,
Till I collapse, Eminem.
Whoa, no one's ever
hit
us that quickly, dude. That's so good.
Good song.
Is there a reason why that? It is a great song, and what a motivational anthem, like, you know, just charging down the road towards battle song that is.
Fucking pumps me up, bro.
Is there anything that just like, because that was so quick, man? Is there any real reason or something special about that song as why it sticks out that quickly?
I think it's the song that I've always listened to every time I've like played a rugby league game, just to pump me up, to get me in the zone. And yeah, I've always loved that song.
Yeah, it's got such a
is a
catchy
banger.
chorus. Are you a big Eminem guy or?
Some of his old stuff, I haven't really listened to his new stuff.
I agree.
But
Yeah,
Me either.
Yeah, I like Eminem Show for me is like an all-time favorite album.
That was the
Yeah.
first thing I had with my Sony Discman was the Eminem Show, dude. Like I was just like, and
That's killer.
just sitting there rapping along. Parents can't hear what I'm listening to. I'm like, yeah, this guy's saying some wild shit. Dude.
And then Drips comes on. You just like,
Yeah, and I'm like, whoa, what is this hormonal feeling I'm having right now at 13? Hit him with question number 2, my man.
All right. Question number 2: who is your favorite comedian or comedic actor?
Oh, I like Kevin Hart.
Fuck yeah.
That is one. We haven't had Kevin.
We haven't
and
had Kevin Hart.
He deserves his flowers, man.
He
that
does.
guy is. I've been meaning to watch that new one with him and Mark Wahlberg, Me Time, but I haven't got around to watching it yet. But I always find Mark. Have you ever seen The Other Guys with Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell? Have you seen that before?
Yeah, I think I have. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. Mark Wahlberg makes a good offsider in a comedy. So I'm always excited to see what he brings in those kind of roles.
Have you got a favorite Kevin Hart movie?
I like pretty much all these movies, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think he's just a good actor.
Yeah, he is. And his stand-up's really good too. Like his first 2 specials, Seriously Funny, and I can't remember what the other one, Look at Me Now, something like that. They're amazing, dude. Like his theatrics on stage, and like he's just this little man that just got so much energy. And yeah, like as a stand-up appreciator and enthusiast, if you haven't watched his like early specials, I urge you to go back and check him out as well, man.
Do you know what he's actually really good in that I saw semi-recently? The Man in Toronto.
I didn't actually watch that because it got such bad reviews. I didn't actually check it out.
I thought it was funny as.
Okay, I might have to give that one a watch still.
You need to watch it.
Yeah, I haven't watched that one yet.
There you go. We've all got some Kevin Hart to go and watch.
Definitely. Number 3.
Question number 3. Have you ever meditated? What's your experience with meditation?
I meditate every day.
Yep.
Every day. People do it once or twice and they're like, oh, I can't calm my mind. I can't get into this. And they just give up. Meditation is a brilliant tool, and you just got to let all your thoughts and emotions just flow. Just flow. Just go with it and see where it takes you. It's a massive journey. And then when you incorporate breath work into that as well, like over the weekend, I did such a deep meditation and breath work that it brought up a lot of visions and stuff like that. And yeah, it's seriously really deep. And I tell everyone to do it and stay committed to it, because you will see the results.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Have you ever done a isolation tank or a float tank?
No, I haven't. I do like ice baths and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's these little like tanks that you can kind of go and lay into, and it's filled up with just like a little bit of water. But so you're floating though. You're not actually touching the bottom. It's like salt water.
Yeah.
And you go in there and you're like completely deprived of all senses. So because you're floating, you're not feeling anything. It's completely black and there's no sound either. And you go in there and you meditate. I think the sessions, I haven't actually done it myself, but I really want to. The sessions are like 45 to an hour long, and a lot of people say they go in there and for the first 15, 20 minutes, they can't really like settle in, and then eventually they kind of just let go and they hallucinate, because you can't see anything either. It's completely black. So you start hallucinating, and you're really going in there and you're finding yourself. I think that'd be something you'd really enjoy if there's one around Sydney, which I'm sure there is.
Yeah, there's something that I want to do. I think it's called Hispano or something like that. It's like 10 days where you go to like this retreat, and it's just like dead silence. You're just with yourself in silence within you. And apparently the people that I've spoken to have had like so much good results that come off the back of it, because you've got 10 days just with yourself to analyze everything throughout your whole life thus far, and it's a crazy experience.
And you can't speak for 10 days.
Yeah, it's just you, silence. 10 days.
Right. Interesting. Well, like in the next few months, I'm actually getting my tonsils taken out, so I'm going to semi experience what it's like not to talk for a couple of days.
I actually went through and Tyres, we need to get you to go and do yours, man. But we've got another good Wormholes episode to go and check out if you've got some time, man. It was a girl named Tony Sherry. She runs a breathwork business here in Adelaide, and talks about all her experiences through like you know, her own journey when someone started taking her through breath work, into then training her how to be a breath worker, to now running her own business. And then before that episode, so that we could talk about it on the podcast, I went through my first breathwork session, and God damn, it was incredible. Like, I need to go back. We've organized with her because my partner wants to do it as well, and I want to go through it again. But my partner is a little bit apprehensive. So I messaged her and I was like, hey, would you do it where you take me through one and let her watch it and then take her through it afterwards? And she's like, yep, absolutely. So I've got to go and do it at some point. But the way I left that house, like floating on a cloud, I couldn't believe it. And you don't even know what's happening in that moment. Like, I was just coming in and out of like consciousness. And then when I came back for the last time properly, I was just like, oh my goodness, like this is just an unbelievably surreal feeling. And, you know, there's just so many, like we said, the tools, meditation, breath work, you know, all of these things that we can do. It's not a one size fits all, and it's not a single approach method to how we work on our mental fitness. There's so many different things that we can do out there. Sensory deprivation tanks, like they were saying, going to those big seminars. Tony, the girl that I was just talking about, she had been going on like ayahuasca retreats and stuff as well.
I would love to do that.
Yeah, that's
me
something.
too.
She went and did this thing called Cambo. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's like where they put like this certain type of frog.
Yeah.
And like you vomit for like fucking 5 hours and you like go through the worst shit ever, but then you come out of it like there's just so many different things, man. So like, I guess the reason I wanted to say that is like some people will listen to this and go, oh, I don't even know where to start. Try something. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't, you might do the first 3 things. You might try meditation. It's not for you, or it doesn't really work. You might try breath work. You might go on an ayahuasca retreat and nothing makes you feel enlightened. And then suddenly you'll find this type of fitness or this type of exercise or yoga or whatever will be the thing that goes, oh my God, I felt that release. I felt that change. I felt that enlightenment happen. But the important thing is to try. Even if it feels uncomfortable, whatever, just try something and you will eventually find a path to what resonates and what works for you.
Definitely. Have an open mind. And with technology these days, you can go on YouTube and you can find breathwork, meditation, yoga, all those videos, and you can do it in under 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Even though like this morning, I did a 40-minute yoga session, and that's the first time I've done yoga properly. And if you ever wanted to do something that removes your ego and it lets you surrender to your body, do fucking yoga. That shit was challenging, man.
Yeah, I've always wanted to try yoga.
Yeah, I want to get into it too.
Bro, the connection with your body and just surrendering to it is so powerful, and especially like breath work as well is so powerful. And coming back to that breath work I did on the weekend, if you go deep enough, you release a chemical called DMT, which is, it's released when you're born, when you die, and when you dream. But through breath work, if you go deep enough, you can release that as well. And that's where like hallucinations and visions and stuff come from. And I had a very profound vision that came through, as I mentioned before, my breath work on the weekend. So just start somewhere, find what works best for you, because it's definitely something that you need to do in your life. And like my partner was like not open-minded to this at all. I dragged her to this event. She was like, fuck this, I'm only coming to one day. I'm not going to do it at all. After day 3, she was all for it. She was all balls to the wall, all in it. I was like, this is the power of the breath and the power of meditation and the power of doing that inner work. It's so powerful.
That would have been such a gratifying thing for you to be able to have that like personal connection with someone going through a bit of enlightenment and awakening in that moment. It must have felt so good to like see your ideas and thoughts and work, you know, be reflected in someone that obviously you share such a personal connection with. And like you said, moving out of the house and then going to that thing, you must feel like you guys are just going to go from strength to strength now moving forward.
Definitely. Our relationship has strengthened so much, but also like I want to bring my parents to this event too, especially my dad, and especially with all his background and his traumas. I'm like, I know he's like old fashioned. I don't want to do that stuff, but I truly believe if he went to one of these events and really did that inner work, he would be a totally different man.
Oh, yeah. It would definitely be impactful for someone like him that's done zero of that kind of stuff. That's for sure.
Well, question number
right.
4, my man. A bit of a change of speed here, but
Which one are we flinging at him?
if it's a bit of a change of pace, it's going to be what started the Wormholes podcast, my man.
Yeah, all right. Question number 4. What's one conspiracy theory that you believe in?
Oh, fucking hell. Ooh. It's a bit controversial with the whole COVID thing.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
We've touched on that a fair bit.
We've gotten strikes on YouTube and had many profiles and things deleted for our opinion about COVID.
We've only got one strike left.
Yeah, so I won't dive into that, but I do believe there's a big conspiracy around the whole COVID thing.
Yeah. Wow, there you go. Yeah, look, go off, son. It's all right. We've talked about it plenty. It's the fact that it's just disappeared from existence in terms of like the care level now. People are still getting it. People are still testing positive, having to take a week off work. All of those things are still happening, but it is completely disappeared from the consciousness, the news cycle, all of those things. And yet all I'm still continuing to hear and experience in a personal circle and from the pages and whatever that I follow is the people that are having long-lasting effects from the vaccination or whatever it may be. Like I was at the gym the other day and like this woman comes up and starts talking to my mum and dad. She would have been like 65 and she's like, oh yeah, you heard about what happened to Bill, didn't you? And dad's like, yeah, I heard he passed away, didn't you? He's like, and this woman just straight away was like, yeah, massive heart attack from the vaccine.
Seriously?
Like 55. That's what she said, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And she just said it so casually, and we don't even know still what long-term effects are going to be from all of that stuff. So, yeah, man, that's a good one to pick because we feel very strongly about that as well.
Yeah, that could be a whole podcast within itself.
Oh, yeah. Well, when you're down in Adelaide, we'll have a conspiracy episode. We'll make a separate one. We'll make a separate pod, and we'll go hard on some of those thoughts. But question number 5, my man, is one that is now being injected into it because of the great man that we have in the chat tonight. It's become our question number 5 before we answer the most important one. What 3 things are you grateful for right now today?
Oh. Being here on this corner is not to gas you up or anything, but I've really enjoyed this conversation, honestly.
Oh, thanks, bro. Yeah,
it's been a fucking awesome conversation, so I'm super grateful for it. The second one is personal development and being able to connect the dots and better understand yourself. That is something that I'm truly grateful for that I get to do, or that I have the mindset to do now on a day-to-day basis. And the third one is my daughter. She turned 8 months old today. And this 8 months has gone so bloody quick. It's like, where's time gone? She's growing up so quickly. And she's just the biggest light in my life. And I'm so grateful for her. So they're my 3 gratitudes.
Thank you, man. And can I just say, I'm personally so grateful that you reached out because it brought us the Grateful Club. It brought us these questions that we now ask every guest that we have on, whether they're from a heavy metal band, they're a comedian, or they're a man that's operating in the mental health space like yourself. They all get asked the same question, and it fills me with such joy to hear them answer every time. And to be able to have this, as you said, an incredible conversation today. It has brought me a massive amount of joy as well. So thank you so much.
Likewise, man. I've really enjoyed the chat so far. So should we chuck him this final all-important question?
I think you've got it, man. You hit him with it.
I'll hit him with it. This ropey question. So, would you rather fight 1 horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses, and why?
Ooh. Bare hands, weapons, what?
I think it's bare hands. I think
we'll go bare hands. Yeah.
Too many people haven't been offered weapons for us to change it this late into the game. So let's say it's hand-to-hand combat. Now you've got a bit of a martial arts background as well, so maybe
fucking around.
Yeah, I think the thought of the 100 horses scares the shit out of me. It reminds me of playing Call of Duty Zombies. So fuck that. I'll fight the duck. I'll kick its legs out. I'll bash the shit out of it.
Fuck yeah.
So the great thing is, and we talk about it every time, but like we never get the same answer twice. And we've done 2 podcasts this week, one on Tuesday night and one tonight, and both people had a different answer, right? And so it's so good that like it's nearly been, we're up to ep 80. We've had maybe 50 guests out of 80 episodes, and we're probably neck and neck still now with answers on each answer. It just shows you that like everyone's brain works differently, and the reasons have always changed from like, you know, it's the I want the trophy on my wall of that big duck, I'm going to mount its head in my games room, to like, you know, everything in between. It's crazy. So yeah, it's such a cool question to wrap up what has been an amazing podcast. So before we let you go, man, plug everything humanly possible. Where are people going to find you? The floor is yours.
Tell us where the action's going down.
So head over to the podcast page, which is just the Betar Project, the BETAR Project. All my links are on the profile there. If you want to be a part of the Grateful Club, send me a message. I'll invite you into the group. You can be a part of that. And then also, if you want to support the podcast in any way, form, I have like merchandise. So $5 from every product actually goes to a mental health charity as well.
Amazing.
And then if you're actually looking to start a podcast yourself, that is a little business that I have on the side too. So hit me up for that, and we can see how we can work together there. So yeah, if you want listen to the podcast, anything like that, all the links are on my profile.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I've got your link tree up here. So your Facebook is The Betar Project. Your TikTok is at The Betar Project. And you've got a Patreon as well.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, Nick, mate, I tell you what, we really appreciate you coming on tonight, man. It's been such a good chat.
Thank you for having me. I've honestly really enjoyed this. Super grateful for the opportunity.
You're an absolute legend, man. And we will have you on in person in Adelaide when you inevitably bring the podcast tour down south. Yeah, we're at south.
Yeah, we're lower, yeah.
We're lower. I don't even know. Lower. Geography, not my strong suit, man. So, but yeah, thank you so much, man. You're an absolute legend, and keep up the great work that you're doing in this space. I know I personally appreciate it, and I'm sure that there's hundreds of others that do as well, man. So,
most definitely.
Yeah, keep it up.
Appreciate it. Let's go.